Hi, and welcome to Brainstorms, Mind Maps and Concept Mapping. These are just amazing little tools and creations that you can help in, and it's another one of our little videos in the Study Skills series. So these are actually just visual ways to help you remember and to make connections. So you'll be able to see here, there's a lovely example of what these sorts of things can look like. Now, I can't lay claim to this is someone else's creation. And usually these sorts of tools and techniques are very personal, and they mean more to the person who created them than to someone else who's looking at them. But in saying that, if you can actually explain your mind map, concept map, or brainstorm to somebody else, you're actually going to learn more from it because you have actually gone through that action of recalling information and explaining it to somebody else. So, why would we want to use them? These techniques are really good if you are a visual learner, but in saying that, if you are not, it also helps you to become more adept at that sort of technique and tool. Use these techniques as a revision for an actual topic, and now this could be for any subject. It doesn't matter if it's English, maths, science, history, blah blah blah, just for anything that you've got to actually revise. And they are meant to try and open your mind, and try not to limit yourself when you're actually doing these things. In a mind map especially, or a brainstorm, there's no right or wrong answers. It's because it's all your personal connections and how you do that. And you can see here there's another little example of someone who's a visual person, and all the little things that come off those, someone who's visual. It's artistic expression, it's observation, it's diagrams, and it's games, and you can see all the bits and pieces that these and as I said, it's just showing you another type of mind map, another example, and how people set them out. Okay, so our first one is a brainstorm. You can see our lovely image there. It's a brain having a lightning storm, and I think this is rather clever because it's actually little ideas falling out of the brain like rain, and that's what you're hoping for. So this is a good technique to use when you need to generate a lot of possibilities or ideas for a topic or a question. So if you've been given some sort of question or a topic and you've actually got to create some ideas, then just put on some music that motivates you and start just writing. And again, there's no right or wrong answers. Just let your brain go, let it go, and write down as much as you possibly can. This can be done on your own, or with a study partner, or with a small group. You can decide that you're all going to have a bit of a go, or write bits and pieces. You might want to actually write them on post-it notes, and then you've got to actually collect and categorize. But this is how you do it. So start with a blank page. It's probably better to actually start with a rather big blank page. Write your topic or question in the middle of the page. And you don't have to be neat. You can be creative. As I said, this is your personal work. And using a timer, generate as many ideas, thoughts, or answers to a topic or question. And as I said, if you don't want to use a timer, stick on a piece of music, and you know that the song goes for about 3 minutes, and you'll say, okay, in 3 minutes, when the song is over, I should have done what I needed to do. And you can write your answers onto smaller pieces of paper, or you could use post-it notes, or a blackboard or a whiteboard, or something that you want to do. And once the time is up, categorize your ideas and answers to help you make sense of your brainstorm. So you might have a good look at your actual answers or bits of ideas that you've actually generated, and try and categorize them in some way. How do they make connections? How do they relate to what you're doing? And this way you'll be able to go, yep, well, that's great. That one's no good. What was I thinking? And really, it's just a time for you to make sense of it. And if you are working in a group, then people, if they've written down an idea, they have to justify why they've actually done that. And again, as a group, you might go, oh yeah, that makes sense. Or as a group go, no, that doesn't make any sense at all. So a brainstorm example here, sorry it's a bit blurry, but you can see that there's a mind map thing in the middle, and there's very uses create and draw, and you can see multi-dimensions and bits and pieces. And so when you actually are doing a brainstorm, they can be have images there. Again, it's very personal how you set these out. There's no right or wrong answer. You could have little bubbles, you could have squares, you can have lines, you can have colors. It's up to you how you want to do it. Okay, so mind mapping, again, very, very similar, but instead of actually generating ideas, you're doing other things. So this technique is similar to a brainstorm, as I just said. It is meant to be a visual representation of how ideas and concepts actually relate to each other. So use this technique for summary of chapters and notes, answers for questions, and anything else that you want. So it could be a summary of a novel, it could be a mind map of how characters connect within a novel, all those bits and pieces, or how concepts and things connect in certain subjects, or for biology, how they all connect in bits and pieces together, you know, one relies upon the other. So it's how you actually want to do it. So the steps you need to do for this one, again, write the question or topic in the center of the page. If you want, you can write it at the top. It really doesn't matter, write it to the side. It's how you actually want to represent it. Use arrows, lines and shapes to write or draw main points and ideas around the center topic. So whatever you need to actually do. So if I was doing one for music, for example, and I might put pitch in the middle of the page, and I know that the things around it I need to you know, for pitch, melody, ornamentation, range, register, roll, phrasing and harmony, and they would be all around the outside for pitch. And then from each of those, say for melody, I could write even more points, you know, that relate just to melody, words that I could use to describe that. For phrasing, again, more sorts of words and bits and pieces. So that's what this is all meant to do. So you continue to radiate out of the center. The whole page could be covered with arrows, shapes, colors, pictures, diagrams, and anything else that helps you to make connections. Because again, this is very personal, and it's something that, you know, it's for your brain to understand. And believe it or not, your brain is very, very unique, and no one else thinks just like you. And here's an example again. We've got lots of bits and pieces. We've got a mind map. It's a bit hard to see that in the middle, but we've got words, we've got paper, we've got lines, colors, images, structure. Again, how you want to do it, it's up to you. And take the time and pause the video if you need to when you're looking at these, so you can actually have a better idea of how things actually work. All right, concept mapping. This is called a couple of things, concept mapping and something else. I can't remember it at the moment, but this technique is similar to both brainstorms and mind mapping. The main difference is that in between each of the ideas, you actually put a link between each idea of and concept. So why are those actually ideas or characters joined together, or why are those things related to in science or in maths or whatever it actually happens to be. And these are great for helping you to synthesize information and construct a meaning out of a topic area. Okay. And also they're great for connecting characters, concepts, and even events, especially if you're a history person. These concept maps are great for, because you understand why things, you write down why things are actually connected. So the steps you need to take for this one. Again, you start with the main idea or ideas. So it could be a character, it could be a novel, it could be an event in history, whatever it happens to be. You need to write the subheadings, characters, concepts around the page. So whatever is connected to that actual main idea, you write them around the page. And then you use arrows to join the concepts together. So if one concept on one side of the page is actually related to another, well, you can join an arrow that, you know, depending on which way it goes, it might only go out or it might go both ways. And then you write in between each connection how it is actually connected. And you can use words or even questions in between for these bits and pieces. And this diagram will actually show you what we mean. So mental map is the other name. As I said, I couldn't remember before. So at the top, you've got the word mental maps, and it's got underneath it are used to, if we go down on the right-hand side, reconstruct ideas by recalling information. Now that information is analysis. Well, that's spelt wrong, I think. Analysis of knowledge, but it's all analyze. It can be also analyze a problem. But if you go down the other side, mental maps are used to organize information by constructing links and in order to make a representation. But if you keep going, if you go back to organize information, they are setting keywords and they analyze a problem, but setting keywords also to analyze knowledge. And I'm not a maths person, but I thought this was rather cute. But in saying that, study does not equal fail. In fact, it's quite the opposite. The more you study, the more you'll actually know your bits and pieces, and the less stress you'll actually have when it's an exam time. Okay, so that's just, again, a few concepts for you, and tools and techniques for you to use. Brainstorms, mind maps, and concept mapping.